Hey, good morning. What's up, everybody? It's a new week, Monday, and we're going to be playing a Rapid and Blitz here with subscribers and viewers. Time control between 5+3 and 7+3. Casual, I would prefer. It's early morning, so I think I'm going to take my warm-up challenge against Troll on a Roll there. Technically, it looks like Diva Karan beat him to the punch here, but Diva Karan's too fast and I need to wake up, so I'm gonna have to take the Troll challenge first to give me like 10 minutes to kind of wake up before I have a fast opponent. What's up, Tushar, Arsenal fan? Gladys Troll is here. Gladys Troll with one of his many subscriptions. Acerbate, thanks for coming, guys. Thanks for being here early in the morning to watch. Yesterday we had a good simul, lots of interesting games. I would prefer to play like 40-40. I think the quality of play is a little higher, but we do the best we can. So, Troll and a Roll challenge to 6+5 this week. Was it usually 7+5? You must be in a hurry. I'm gonna play Troll to wake up. So, Arsenal fan, you were asking about your game yesterday. You're basically playing a London system / Bishop f4 type of setup where, you know, that's often played against, well, that's often played, people play what you played with white. The London system with white is obviously a tempo ahead of where you were in the game yesterday. I saw an interesting game Uncle Yermo played where he played like knight h4 against somebody. I didn't do that because I'm usually like, you know, only thinking of that with the bishop on g5, but maybe it makes sense. All right, but anyway, interesting opening yesterday. Troll and a Roll, it's chess 960. You know that. I'm going to open and get some control of the center with f5, the Dutch defense. We've got the queen active, the rook active, the bishop can be fianchettoed Leningrad Dutch style here. Yeah, well, I mean, the engine likes knight h4, but it also likes bishops a lot, so it's pretty convincing, though. I mean, you do knight h4, we get your bishop, and it's a standard. I mean, I play those kind of positions with the bishop on g4 or g5, respectively, and I've had my bishop hunted down a lot. It's sometimes aggravating, but not. It's not like it's decisive or something. Okay, we're talking a little bit about my simul game with Arsenal fan yesterday. We had 20 boards. One of our 21st board didn't actually realize he got challenged. That's the first time that's happened where someone lost on time without making a move against me. Maybe not the first time, but the first time I remember. Usually people make a few moves then quit the simul. But he was very apologetic. The guy who forgot or didn't realize he was in the simul. So, okay, the Stonewall against the Dutch. That's what it looks like. What are we going to do here? Knight c6, put some pressure on his center. Looks like a reasonable move. Hyper modern chess. Did I see our game played yesterday? It was a boring 20 move game. Did you see our game played yesterday? Tushar Kemde. Okay, if I had any time, I would sacrifice a piece on b5, but I only had like a little bit of time left. I think that white has winning chances by sacrificing a piece on b5, even in the final position. But it's very complicated, and I would never do that with no time left. So, but I would like to make that kind of sacrifice any day of the week if it was a tournament game and I had lots of time on the clock. Standard idea in the a6 Slav. Okay, so e3. White has some weaknesses here. Thinking about b6, but b6 looks kind of weird. Where is my knight going from d8 to f7? I guess I just have to play with thinking about where my king is going here as well. I mean, I'm looking at knight b4. was also looking at b6, bishop a6. But b6, d5, knight b4 looks okay. All right, let's try it. It's interesting. We could do a double fianchetto. My knight has plenty of squares. It's not getting trapped. My rook. Okay, he can play like d5, knight b4, d6, but that looks crazy. He's hanging c2. I would blame the player of playing, the player who plays the Slav for the boring game, I think that black is to blame for that. The a6 Slav, particularly kind of stodgy. e3, b6, probably you should be playing another opening if you think that's boring. Another defense to d4. a6 Slav, not really known for the excitement. I offered you a chance to take a pawn on c4. You didn't take that. A very sharp gambit play arises. So I think you can only blame yourself if you felt the game was boring. In that case, because you got an opportunity to play d takes c4, which was following Daniel Dubov against one very strong grandmaster in the Russian super final. Now bishop a6, d5, knight b4 is still good. Okay, this bishop a6 is interesting. Objectively, maybe I'm better off playing bishop b7, but I've got to watch out for knight to b5. Alright, this is fine. The Slav is really supposed to be a solid defense. That's the entire idea of it. I mean, if you want to play aggressively with black, I guess, against d4, you have to play the Benoni or the King's Indian. Some kind of aggressive, or something crazy like some sort of gambit, like the Budapest gambit or something. Anytime you play d5 and c6 or e6, it's basically one of black's more solid options. Now Troll is going for my c7 pawn here. Whoa. Maybe I miscalculated. Rook c8, d5. Oh, that's not really a problem, is it? I don't think so. He's got bishop takes c6. I have knight takes c6, which is kind of funny. But the gambit, I tried to play queen c2, which is a really risky move for white. You wouldn't have any of it. You played like g6 or knight bd7 or whatever. All right, the knight has to get out of there, and knight back to where? You can put one knight on a3, another one on c3. Not really optimal. Although Troll has disrupted me from being able to castle queenside, so maybe there's some justification for this. Okay, guys, welcome to my stream. It's Monday. We've got tournament tomorrow night, viewer tournament, 7 p.m. Central European time. Knight a3 now. You should consider b5, keeping him off of c4, but he's already off of c4, so I guess it's not urgent. I need to develop the rest of my pieces. I got kind of carried away here with the strange deployment. The double fianchetto plan, basically, is pretty bizarre. e6 blocks my queen, but I need to get my knight out at the same time. I don't want to let him play knight c4. So like e6, knight c4 is probably good. Okay, this looks really strange, but at the same time his knights are bottled up. So I think that it's justified. Troll usually gets in some time pressure. So I've got challenges here from Diva Karan and Tushar Kamde. The ratings are amazingly similar. Those guys are almost identical. 2062 Rapid, 2191, 2051 Bullet, 1983, 1951 Blitz, 1950 Blitz. Dun dun dun. Are you the same person? All right. B2 is just hanging here. What is up with that? Is it worth sacrificing a piece to take that? Maybe. Does look pretty strong, actually. I think I could just do this. His rook's hanging. Both the knights are awkward. All right. So bishop takes b2. Ananas is here. Daru. Daru is a new account. Just about enough games that I could accept a challenge. Galanid and Yash Mahayan. I don't know how you pronounce J in Indian, in Hindu, or I don't know what you guys have a lot of languages. What do I call it? But anyway, how do I pronounce the J? I don't know. All right. I'm used to Eastern Europe where like J is like yeah, and then there's English where it's ja. It has to be ja in Indian language, right? Like Raja, Rajesh, right? Mahajan. Back to, it's so hard living here in Eastern Europe. I have to change the way I say J. You guys are different people. All right, your ratings, you ought to get together. I mean, you're like mirror images of each other. That's strange. Bishop takes c3, knight takes c3, queen g7, and yeah, I can also take on a1, but I thought I'd do this. Well, if he takes, I can just play b4. I guess that's the simple solution here. I wanted to play queen g7. That could force him to play king d2 and then b4. Okay, Troll's position looks suspicious. You know, trying to take this on my terms. I'm finally ready to castle. Matthew Sadler is this guy who like almost never plays tournaments, but he keeps his rating just high enough to like be in the British Championship or something. I think he's played like 5 tournaments in the last 20 years. Okay, queen g7. Here we go. Yasser Seirawan used to do that. He would like never play, but just stay on the list as like the highest rated American. All right. So Challengers Ananas is a subscriber, right? Ananas, you were a subscriber, weren't you? We should play him first. And then I'll play Diva Karan, who's been waiting. The other guys are subscribers, though. So Diva Karan is the first guest player, and then the rest of you guys. Ananas is really tough in the opening. I want to try... What am I going to try here? King's Indian. I had a bad a bad thing in the Benko against him last time. I lost the last game against Ananas. I did the same mistake twice in a row where I played this move Queen D8. Every time I reach this position, I think that Queen D8 is the right move. Then I look it up, and Asterbait was accused of being a computer. That's a compliment, man. I don't know. Against the King's Indian, the Fianchetto variation is really tough. Ananas playing a particular move order with early knight c3, which is actually rather rare. Gives him more flexibility with his king knight. He can play like knight e2 instead of knight f3 in some lines. Don't really have any special system worked out here. I haven't been playing the King's Indian seriously very much. It takes a lot of work. I used to play the King's Indian like on a regular basis, but it really requires a lot of theoretical knowledge. It's a very risky opening. You're giving white a lot of space, and strong players are going to make you pay, basically. So now the knight is on f3. Unfortunately, I just don't have any new ideas here. Going back to what I always used to play. Despite the fact there are half a dozen players of at least FM strength, what are you talking about, Arsenal fan? In reference to what? Half a dozen players of FM strength? Okay, well, let's just play our old standard. I don't think I did this for a long time. I don't know what Ananas, I don't even remember what he does against his Kavlek variation. Luboš Kavlek was a Slovak grandmaster who lived most of his career in the United States, and he's still around. He has like a column in the Washington Post, at least he used to. I haven't read it lately. Maybe it's not there anymore, but e4. Kavalik was like 2600. In the time when it was really, you know, quite a respectable rating. This bishop g4 is a little bit like risky. I think that it's more respected to play like knight on bd7, e5, followed by knight on bd7. Years ago, I played a German FM with this plan. German FM with an Italian name, Francisco de Glaria. I played this line against in a tournament. This is like standard, I guess. Ananas probably knows it. Maybe I lost that game. Now I can't really remember. Black's position is kind of passive. He trades the white square bishop. And I'm not sure that it's a good exchange. I mean, we really need the white square bishop in this position. Now, he's not threatening anything with this knight directly. So I was thinking maybe we'll just ignore that. Kind of like the Scandinavians, sometimes white goes like bishop d2. Actually, the other day, Ananas, last week when you beat me in the Benko, apparently the move you played in the same theme, bishop d2, is not really very good for white. That's according to the opening explorer. It's a very normal move in the Benko line where I lost to you, but it looks like it's not the main line. So you should go back and check that, because I'm not sure that you know, that you really have much of an advantage, in fact. I remember a lot of games. I think I have an average memory for stuff. Shoplifting. Shoplifting labor. Okay, queen b3 is kind of weird. What's the deal with that? He's encouraging me to play knight to c5. What is up with that? Maybe he just wasn't thinking when he played queen b3. It's still early in the morning. I wanted to go to this outpost square anyway. And what better time than the present, when I can sort of gain a tempo. Okay, he can go back to c2, and maybe, you know, I have to watch out for b4s. So b4, queen takes b4, and then some sort of nastiness, but it's not really anything there momentarily. I guess we go here. I'm not sure if this is correct in this position to play rook f8. It's a common idea. You could go Magnus Carlsen style with like queen f8, bishop h6. But that's why I do the f rook. You know, I want this guy to get back in the game. Wow, I mean, knight takes e4 doesn't do anything, huh? So I have to go home. But it's logical to play b4. Still, black's position is pretty compact. There's a backwardness for white along the c file that starts to become a factor here. But I don't know how significant it really is. Maybe not so much. I've got to watch out for knight to b5. Maybe queen there is too slow. King h7 deserves consideration. Then g4 though. I could also just play knight b6 and go for the c4 square. Maybe changing plans here, but I feel like, well, the knight on c4, it's not really a solid outpost. Queen f8, g4. Knight h7 is another plan. The thing is, though, that the g4, I mean, it's very, very weakening for white. If he does that, we'll just change everything. We'll switch the whole position. I mean, if he does g4, now he's got knight b5 ideas. I'm going to keep him off of here. It puts my pawns a little bit on the right color with a6. This is the standard scheme in the setup for black to play for bishop h6 and trade the dark squared bishops. Andrew Martin recommended this like 25 years ago in a book from the early 90s. I don't remember the name. Some King's Indian book by Andrew Martin. The King's Indian played the King's Indian with the read and play method. No, that was a different book. I don't remember what he called it. He said shop fitters, not shoplifters. I was saying shoplifters as a joke. All right. Arsenal fan is, he's getting political. King G7 now. All right, we're okay, man. We're kind of out of the water. Out of the water. Out of the water. What am I saying? Strange phrases that don't exist. I'm out of the water. What am I trying to say? And I have a good memory, someone said. Okay. Queen b6. Yeah, that's a good diagonal. Let's play some dark squares. Maybe I should have played for h4, actually. Could have played h4 there. As like a pawn sacrifice. This looks... really asking for trouble. Okay, man. I gave you one chance already. Now I'm angry. I can't have him coming into e7. That's the thing about queen g5. Maybe I should have taken my opportunity to play h4, though. It is kind of risky. White swapping pieces. Swap mode. Sunil swap nil. Rook takes c8. Self-employed. I don't know about the other aspects about life, but in case of chess games, I'm specializing in chess games. So he's swapping, but I think the endgame gives black good chances. I mean, the queen and knight combo, you know, is usually easy to play, and like they create threats against the enemy king very easily. So I think here I'm pretty satisfied. Now his white squared bishop is kind of a bad piece. Yeah, it's still, like, there doesn't seem to be any tactic. Knight b6 heading for c4, huh? My favorite square. Well, it's getting down to a blitz game now. I mean, white's a little more overextended, but I have to resolve whatever's going on the C file. Speaking of the C file, I'm also on H3. Yeah, this is the plan I anticipated. He's got this knight g3 thing. Okay, everything's protected, so if I go knight h7, maybe I should play pawn takes pawn first. I'm just too low on time. Knight g3 is the threat. He could have even played it there. That's weird. There's the g5 square, which might be relevant. My knight is hanging on b6. Could have maybe gone back to e3. I'm not sure if this is his best or not. I got to get over to c7. It's there's a famous game, speaking of Speaking of famous games and remembering games, there is the game where Botvinnik had like very similar pawn structure with black against Salo Floor, but in that game it was 2 bishops against 2 knights, which is a lot more dangerous than this. But where's my knight going? Seriously. Even his bad bishop is still not so bad, unfortunately. I guess it's just a draw. I could even play a5, actually, sacking a pawn. Probably not that ridiculous. But his bishop's just too good to lose. Fortunately, he can put his pawns on. These pawns don't have to be fixed on white squares. If his b pawn was on a white square, he might have chances to lose. But I don't think, you know, without all of the pawns on white squares, there's any realistic losing chances. My poor knights look kind of ill. But here's my chance to go, what, dark square pawns? Oh my god, I almost blundered. Whew. My poor my knight on e8 needs to move out. Yeah, alright. Not sure if I ever had good winning chances. This is all theory. So bishop d2 like turns out to be the main move. Notice how these games were played in like the 90s. I'm not sure about the h5 is a novelty. Wow. So they all did rook f(c8) first. Not sure if it's a big deal. This is a weird move, queen b3. Like inducing knight c5. Wow. Apparently I should have played g8, bishop h6 right away in this position. Even the computer sees this plan. You know, I was concerned about the knight getting to b5 and d6 here. It's not a problem. Like this. Bishop h6 takes knight b5 or something. I guess it's not a big deal. Like I can always play knight e8 or something. Even queen b6. Okay. All right, guys. Let's move on to the next game. Apparently, I was better in one moment. Well, I have knight c4 here. Queen b8. Black is better. So queen d7 was a blunder. That's just a draw. All right. Any other subscribers? I will play. I will play this first game with Diva Karan. I want to play a few of the new players. Well, not subscribers. Non-subscribers. I never pre-move. Well, there's no need to pre-move when you have a 3-second increment. I mean, let's just face it. Why do we need to pre-move? Did I pre-move? He's pretty solid, NNS, especially with white in those G3 positions. Last time I lost in the Benko, although my position was okay there. Accelerated Dragons. Yesterday I had a tournament game which was a draw in English, but I looked at it and it seems like both sides played well, so I don't really know if I want to complain about it. The guy was like 22-40, but a fairly young player, and probably he's still improving, so I don't feel too bad about it. Maybe I need to play more sharply. Okay, but anyway, like, it looked like a kind of game where neither side made any mistakes, so you can't really... It was a king and pawn endgame when I offered a draw, so I played it out. Just it was dead draw. But my team results this year, too many draws. I'm on a very low board and I still have a lot of draws. It doesn't really matter where you put me, I'll still have a lot of draws. It doesn't matter if it's like Grandmasters or 2200s. So they ought to put me on a higher board. So you can't do that. You can't put the players out of board order. That would be cool though, in team competition, if you just to have team competitions where you could just put the boards wherever you wanted every game, like Fisher Random. That would add another dimension to chess team strategy. Fianchetto, yeah. No, my last opponent is a Fianchetto junkie. All right, Divakarma with Bishop E2. This is the Nefedov system. We've had zillions of games with Nefedov, and I've reached the point where I'm trying to avoid it. It still can transpose to a quote-unquote normal classical dragon with knight b3, but it's seemingly possible to play without knight b3. I mean, I can easily equalize right away, you know, if I want to with d5. Or at least d5, like on the next move, if I castled first. Actually, my move order was probably slightly unusual. It might be more normal to castle right away. But this is a very solid setup for white. Can even lead to the King's Indian 4 pawns attack, Bisgeier variation, or something like that. F4, and Bisgeier used to play the 4 pawns attack against the King's Indian, and then like let you exchange c takes d4, which was weird. It would transpose to a kind of like Marazzi. I had a game with him like that. Playing Marazzi binds against the dragon. Most people hate that. I hate playing the black side of the Marazzi bind. Yeah, so f4. It's actually not a 4 pawns attack because his pawn's not on c4. He would need to have that. How does that arise again? Here white can play knight b3 even now. So maybe I'm more it was more accurate to take on d4 first for me. But this is like pretty boring if white plays like this. Divakarma was talking about boring, but it's his fault that it's boring. It's always his fault. Bishop c6 is a good move. Well, that's the whole plan. I mean, this occurs in a lot of lines. Now I might have e5. I've had some similar games online. There's also bishop h6. e5, pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn. e5, bishop e3, takes. Queen b6 check, takes. b1, queen a5, queen a3, snaps that. Could get kind of complicated. I'm calculating a lot of tactics here based on e5. Although maybe it's much more solid to play something like knight d7. Kind of passive though. Knight d7 is like a Marazzi. It's really passive for black. I had a game like this with Shamkovich, who was an old Russian Soviet grandmaster, I should say, and he lived in the States. We played relatively late in like 1998. He had like a 60-year chess career. This was like one of his last games ever. But his pawn was on c4 in this type of exact position somehow. Yeah, so taking on e5 is a mistake for white. I mean, I think Nefedov has been in this sort of situation with me. You really should play bishop e3. Okay, it's probably not a big mistake, just a small mistake. Still very hard for black to like win necessarily. Maybe I had a sort of correspondence game with somebody here that was pretty much like this, if I remember correctly. Boring is another situation where we can describe this as boring. Knight d7 is interesting. Knight d7. My knight needs to maneuver. I really think that's the thing here. Well, let's say the rook d8. First. I may have to give up on the knight d7 plan though. Okay, actually he can't do bishop g5, h6, bishop h4, g5. Maybe he can actually. Knight d7 now. I mean, knight f8. Knight f8, he would win a pawn there. Might have to play a strange move, knight b6 here. What's wrong with bishop f8, knight to d5, bishop c5? Actually, white's playing perfectly. I prefer not to exchange on e5. White's play strategically. You know, you could question the fact that he has an isolated pawn, but it's not so easy to exploit it. So I still think it's nearly perfect. Bishop here. He seems more like a master than 2000. I don't understand. He already won 2 tournaments. Doesn't seem to make any mistakes. I did win a game against him somehow. That was very, very hard though. He seems way too strong to be 2060. But he's got a lot of games, so it has to be legitimate. 2,500. 1,900 Blitz after 2,500. But as I was saying earlier, his rating is like amazingly similar to Tushar Kamdeh. They have exactly the same rating in all 3 rating categories. But this looks, okay, equal, but White has to be a little bit careful. You have chances to win. I'd rather have Queen and Knight than Rook and Knight. They say that Rook and Bishop are a good combination, Queen and Knight are a good combination. Still, pretty hard to make progress here. Maybe my king can be improved. King f2 is a really professional move as well. Excellent endgame technique for 2000 lichess. That would be like 1900 FIDE. But he won 2 nice tournaments that I organized, or second and first. All right, King e7. It's like a draw. It's kind of like the game with Ananas, where I have a good knight and he has some pawns on the wrong color, but that's not enough to lose the game. It's just, okay, g4 is kind of weird. I would argue that's a mistake. Probably still not enough to lose the game though. If he keeps putting too many pawns on white squares, he will be lost in some, some end games. But I still don't think it's so easy. Even this minor piece ending after rook d1, if I trade rooks, I doubt I can win. There's some chances. We ought to try, at least. I have knight a4. Can my knight get trapped? Yeah, it looks like. But worst comes to worst, I just bring the knight out. Actually, knight c3, he can't play king d2. So it's not so simple. I assumed he was going to play bishop f3. The king and pawn endgame is no problem for white, obviously. Knight takes here, but I'm just winning a pawn. With bishop f3, he had ideas of king d3, maybe trying to get in king c4, king c5. Now he could be in some danger, although it's trapping my knight or something. Oh man, are you kidding me? So he's like winning. He's actually winning. He trapped my knight on a2. Right. wonder if there's any hope here. This technique is like perfect. He missed bishop e8 there, surprisingly. I guess he's just gonna win this. It's impressive. Let's see. This is following exactly in the Yescas game. Yeah, bishop e2 is... This is losing. Apparently I was winning in one moment. How in the world I would be winning? I have king c2 here, or c4. c4 in this move. That's ridiculous. Alright, I'm going to play subscribers here. Arsenal fan. Pretty good 1900 lichess player. Alright. It was all book, like for 20 moves. And then I trapped my knight on a2 and draw in position. Nothing I could do to win, though. Basically impossible to win. I don't think I ever had a chance to win that game, except for that obscure thing with c4 at the end. c3 Sicilian. Arsenal fan, you're changing up openings again. Going back to your original system. What is this? c4? No. Okay, it's just like an old Indian with colors reversed. Typical lichess 1900. He won two of my subscriber tournaments, viewer tournaments here. A little too strong for 1900. Nothing special happened in that game, but the thing is he doesn't make mistakes. That's the noticeable feature of Diva Karan's play. Players who don't make mistakes are tough to beat. Which is basically what I do. You know, I just don't make mistakes usually. I made one mistake and was punished. Now I have the chance to play c4, which dynamizes the position a little bit. I'm not sure, you know, if this is the best move, but at least it's a way to create some imbalance in the position. Soltigo's not here today. Man, it's sometimes so hard to type something on Twitch. It takes me forever to answer someone's question. All right. Rookie 1. You guys are seriously the same guy? I'm suspecting Tushar and Diva of being the same person. I don't know. I can't prove it, you guys, but seriously, you got to tell me the truth. Your ratings are too similar. And you guys both show up at the exact same time and you're from the same country, you know? It's a little too weird. Like, they both show up at exactly the same time from the same country and they're challenging me back to back. There was another player who did the same thing before. That actually, they were from India too. It was Constant Change and another guy. I can't remember, but it's just too weird, you know? And they started playing on the stream at about the same time. Anyway, whatever. Alright, so the e5 square. This is a very good point, but white still has control of the center. I think it's... You have double the games against the master, of course. It's okay to have 2 accounts, but I mean, you know, be open about it. I mean, it's not okay with, you know, it's okay with me. I don't know if it's okay with lichess, but that's another question. That's not my business. Just, I don't want to be playing the same person 2 games if, you know, if I'm trying to play everybody a single game, you know. Well, I couldn't prove it unless you... We couldn't very well prove you weren't the same people, even if you got on the webcam with me, man. You'd have to, like, get on the webcam. We'd have to get the other person on the webcam, too, at the same time. And I don't think they're going to do that. Whoops. Diva Karan says, I have 2 accounts, but I'm not Tushar. Okay, I mean, just like... I know that I'm paranoid, but I mean, you gotta look at their ratings. It's like ridiculous, like how similar they are in all rating categories. Whatever. You know, I've had other people try to play like 2 games by doing that, you know, and it's kind of not fair to everyone else. Anyway, forget about it. How can we play the same tournament at the same time? Well, I guess if you're fast, it's no problem. You'd have to have 2 people probably to do that. You know, you just have to have a friend do it, but whatever. I think I just allowed e5. Alright, e5 is a problem. Maybe I just screwed up my position. His queen is in such a strange position on c4 though. I can't ignore this though. He can always go back here. b5 and knight e6. I have b5 and knight e6. But even at the end of the day, when I play knight e6, I'm going to have to close the position with d5, and then white has a good game. I think white has a good game if I have to play d5. I just want to know you guys are not the same person. Subscribed on 2 accounts. Yeah, I wish. These guys don't subscribe. But I probably wouldn't complain. Queen e2. No, I don't think a subscriber would do something like that. That would be pointless. Now, knight e6. This looks good for white. After bishop g3, I've got to play d5. It's a little like an open Roy Lopez. I mean, he could also play some bishop c1 or even go back. No, he can't because of knight takes e5. Bishop g3. What was that? You were playing bullet? Yeah, no, I mean, in order to do that, you'd have to. But maybe I'm wrong. But, I mean, I didn't just come up with this theory out of thin air. I mean, you guys, the ratings are crazy similar in all rating categories. And a lot of games. And the style's kind of similar, too. You guys don't know opening theory, but you're pretty strong. All right. But if not, then my apologies. I just am naturally paranoid. But anyway, whatever. It's not like I'm accusing somebody of being a computer. I'm just saying that they're, you know, possibly the same person. Knight e3. I have to play d4 now, and we're kind of pinned on this file, which looks dangerous. Maybe this is too dangerous for me. Man, Arsenal fan, I'm gonna have to sack a pawn. Maybe I have to actually sack a pawn here, not to lose material. My other option was knight a5, but this looks really good for white. Look at the way his pieces are stacked up. I mean, the bishop on f1 is bad, but everything else, he's actually getting in time pressure. Wow, knight c2. That sucks. Now we've got a problem. Queen a5. I'm ahead of Arsenal fan on time, which is weird. Just losing a pawn here. Oh man. Alright. Queen a5. I can try to like not lose a pawn by doing that, but this looks really wrong. His center is too strong. I don't think I can do this. Anubis. I cannot do this. This is too bad for me. This is a disaster. I think I'm just lost here. I would have 2 accounts if I were working hard on my numbers. Wow. Like, you should just take with the pawn on d4. This is just winning for white, I think. Knight takes d4. Now I can blockade. in some lines, or even get my pawn back on a2. What a center for white, though. Arsenal fan, good job using your time. All right, I'm gonna play any subscriber challenges first. So like Mule Skinner and then Tushar. I can't afford to let his center get out of control, so I've got to play like knight b4, but I've got to be very careful I'm not blundering some sort of tactic here. Queen takes a2 is just totally materialistic. It lets his center advance wildly. I think it would be a huge mistake. This way I'm down a pawn, but my position is playable. The other way I'm just hopelessly lost. Queen e2 is good. Maybe not the best move, but good. But this way I get a little bit of counterplay. Let's see what he does here. I thought knight takes. You got some interesting knight transfers. My blockade is solid here, and I can play bishop h6. But anyway, I'm down a pawn, so it's kind of hard to make forward progress. I'd also like to double rooks, which probably means playing rook c6. Rook c6. This is super awkward. No other good square. Now, if Rich had more time, I'm sure he could probably beat me in this game. But the time pressure really is setting in. I'm doing like a world loser where I actually make it hard for him to play by playing super fast. This is not normally my modra, but we're down a pawn here, so I think I'm being practical. Knight f4. Take rook c1. It seems like a strange way to win your pawn back. But I'll take whatever I can get to get my pawn back. Got my knight trapped last game, trying to grab a pawn on a2. Here I'm going to do it again. No, he can't trap me on b2. He can't trap me on b2. And I just got the crazy idea because you guys logged on at exactly the same time. There was another pair of players who I used to suspect of this. It's not a new idea. I just like borrowed it from an old situation. I'm very paranoid. But anyway, forget about it. I'm probably wrong. Bishop d2, bishop b4. Where do I want to go here? I'm better with outside pawn, but it's not quite enough to win, it looks like. Maybe a5, a4, just immediately. Is b4 good? I mean, when people are exactly the same strength and they show up at exactly the same time from exactly the same country, I don't think that's total paranoia, thinking they're the same person, you know? That's just like a natural sort of semi-paranoid conclusion. So I've got a3, a2. At least there's a basis to my insanity. We're queening. All right. Everybody's engines. Especially Arsenal fan. No, I mean, nobody's an engine. I lost the last game because I got my knight trapped on a2. It was pretty stupid. Yul Skinner's up next, then I'm going to play Tushar. Actually, I have to play Morales, too. Yul Skinner aborted. Okay. I don't know why. I'll play Morales, who's a subscriber, then Tushar. Why did Morales abort? I mean, Yul Skinner. Okay, it's a lot of people. Yeah, well, I mean, it could be a friend of yours too. I mean, if you guys are friends, that would be a reason. 1.25 billion. It's like, yeah, that's a few. There's a strong chance of coincidence. Yesterday I had a game in the tournament where I thought my opponent prepared for me. I've been playing this bishop g5 variation a lot, but it's really not that good. So over the board I second guessed myself, and I didn't want to walk into the guy's preparation, so I didn't play bishop g5, which is, it's kind of my best variation, but if you're prepared for that, then it's not dangerous. That's the problem. I mean, it's really not that strong of a variation. So I ended up playing the English opening yesterday, which is incredibly lame. This line, the Pano variation of the King's Indian, is extremely theoretical, and I don't really know it. You guys are from different places, but you have to admit your strength in chess is like identical to each other. It's really scary. I mean the ratings are literally like exactly the same on all three. All three rating categories. That's weird. So I was sure you were the same person. 92. But it's true, you couldn't play each other. You'd have to have a friend. You'd have to have a friend playing during the tournament. A6, B3. So I think Rook B1 is normal here. I don't know this at all, and I always felt like this variation is a little too precarious somehow. A little too hard to play for white. But I guess if you had time to study these positions in great depth, it would be very rewarding for a player like Ananas, who plays the Fianchetto King's Indian. I think once we had a game like this where I was black against Ananas and I played with relatively little theoretical knowledge against him. The interesting, more suspicious coincidences: siblings. Why is the English lame? The English is just lame because it's not that aggressive, you know? I mean, let's face it, the English opening is nothing more than playing the Sicilian, like with colors reversed, okay? It's like a reverse defense. You're playing a defense with white when you play the English. I mean, it's probably the best or one of the best reversed openings, okay? But if not the best, but still, you know, when you play c4 and black plays e5, you're playing e4 c5 with colors reversed. I mean, it's giving up something, you know. You've either got to play d4, e4, or knight f3 on move 1. I mean, I'm sure that a lot of top players would probably agree with this argument, that if you don't play d4, e4, or knight f3 on move 1, you may not be able to get any advantage. And even if you do play d4, e4, knight f3 on move 1, because c4 has the drawback of e5, you know. With knight f3, if black plays d5, you can still play d4, and you can still get a mainline queen pawn game with chances for an advantage. But I love the English, but I'm not going to argue that black doesn't equalize against it, you know, because I'm pretty sure that you're giving up a lot when you play the English. You're giving up a lot of your first move advantage. It's a concession, you know. Queen c7. I guess I'm just supposed to play like bishop b2 and like bishop a1 or something like weird. See, this is the problem. I don't know the theory well enough here. Looking at it like years ago or something isn't enough. I'm not sure, but I mean, bishop e2 connects my rooks. I'd also like to trade. I mean, I wouldn't mind trading like his king's Indian bishop, because I have some, maybe some attacking chances at some point much later on, if I could trade that off. English is lame. Well, I admit it's lame. You know, I play it and I admit that it's lame. I'd like to play e4 every game, but that requires immense theoretical preparation, I think, you know, to play it. d4, c4, knight f3. Of course it's not English, you know. This is a mainline d4 opening. I think we both have to... We have played a similar game. You had made a YouTube video about the game. Yeah. But not with queen c7. I don't remember. I did something... I don't remember how it went. You know, I know that he's supposed to play e5 or e6 at some point, and he didn't here. You know, that's the only thing that I know. He hasn't made any central declaration at all, which is usually unusual. Now what do I do? Well, I can play h3, and then what is he doing? Actually, yeah, I think that Morales is going for knight e5. What if I play like knight d1 first? Okay, I have no clue. This seems weird, admittedly, but I was talking about trading this off, and so here's my chance to do it. I better trade this before it's too late. Okay. Is this even a good move? Attacking his queen for the sake of attacking it. Normally something I try not to do. But I'm trying to circumvent, you know, his counterplay. f6 isn't necessary for black, but it may not be a bad move. See, this is the kind of position that I just never ever play. So I feel a little awkward about doing this. This rook always comes down to like b4. You gotta be prepared for that. I can reinforce my pawn with knight e3. It kind of seems like a strange decision to go here to e5 now. Unless he's going to sack a piece or something. But it's just incredibly hard for me to break through. What do I do? We're basically stuck. Now both sides are stuck. He can't drop his knight on a5. And I'm always like attacking it. So a3, what's new? I have like a rook on a4 that would protect it, but then I can play rook b1 and take the b file. So it's really like a messed up situation. Morales plays the French too. Alright, we're finally gonna play Tushar next game, and then we've run out of subscribers. thankfully, because it gives us a chance to play some other games with people who've been waiting. Guys, tomorrow night is the Blitz tournament or Rapid. I have to decide what kind of time control we're going to play tomorrow before the end of today's stream. We have an hour left. We could also do chess 960. What do you guys think for a time control for tomorrow's viewer tournament? It's hard for black, it's also hard for white, but I have more space. He's sort of paralyzed. What can he do, like bishop a4? I could play like rook b1, rook takes, but then he retreats back. Bishop e4 maybe. What does that even do? Drop a pawn on h3? Yeah, that's a good move. Okay, I'll just make a waiting move. I'm running out of time. Get my king further away from the center for the endgame. Okay, this is not an endgame. There's still a lot of play. Yeah, bishop a4. It's annoying. I don't know what else to do. He frees himself now to some degree, you know. So I think it's. I can't let him into b3, unescorted. Queen b6 is no problem. I mean, maybe I'm good at this type of position. I don't know, but it's kind of dry. Like there's no tactics at all. Morales playing the French too. Now his knight is free. Queen trade. What about my pawn? He's got knight d8, knight b7, knight a5. It's all maneuvering chess. King there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. So I got to get over there with my bishop first. We need bishop and king. Does my space advantage mean anything? Do I want to draw here? Yeah, I guess it's okay. It's objectively a draw, probably. All right. Well, I think white is a tiny bit better, but I mean, in the interest of like playing more games, I'll accept a draw. In a tournament game, Morales, I would play on here, but objectively, I think it is a draw. Like, if you want to know. But you'll see the computer is giving me plus 0.1. White definitely has slightly better practical chances to win here. But it's so close that it probably is a draw. I mean, anyway, it's symmetrical. If anyone goes wrong, it'll probably be black, but no, it's reasonable to offer a draw. I'm not insulted that a lower rated player would offer a draw. It's very closed. All right. Not the most exciting game, but that's my fault for playing this Fianchetto stuff. You know, honestly, I take the blame in this case. All right, so we're playing Tushar, who is not playing with 2 accounts, despite my paranoia. All right, guys. King's Indian. I was just suggesting this, so he tries it out. I won't play g3 again. It's very boring. You have some problem with c4. Well, yeah. There just isn't enough to do there. I mean, that's the real problem, right? I mean, it's symmetrical. Both sides have only one weakness. Here, I don't know what the best move really is for white. I used to think this was a bad system for black, but I'm not so convinced anymore. I saw some reasonable games in the database, so it looks like it's a decent way to play. d5. Can I try d5 maybe? I don't know. It just seems like d5 seems kind of overextending and making his bishop actually better. But I don't really think this is a good system for white either. I think against the King's Indian, G3 is solid, but you really have to play the classical system. There is no other option. I mean, if white doesn't play e4 against the King's Indian, I don't think he can really get an advantage. The other stuff, the G3, this bishop G5, it's just practical stuff, but objectively, like theoretically speaking, white shouldn't be able to get an advantage. Only in normal main lines with e4 can we get an advantage. Volepa says, accept my 7-7-3 challenge. Well, I have to just take the challenges as I get them. I owe it to my subscribers to play them usually first. But what is that? Pomo 12. I don't see any Pomo challenge. I've got Galanid, Abita, Vodka Drunk, Stupid Names, Supreme, and Rakesh. Now this is a little bit different because he's played c5. I mean, d5 has more justification. I think that d5 might actually be a good move here. If he doesn't have e6, my rook on c1 is of relatively little value, though. In a structure where I'm playing a Benoni with d5. But I should probably go for it. Well, maybe not. But if I don't do that, what do I do? H3, something like a waiting move. This is pretty lame. It's like playing the London system with my bishop on g5, basically. This is a good idea to trade pieces before it's too late for black. Just wondering if I could sacrifice a pawn here with bishop to d3, but there's no reason to do anything brash like sacrificing pawns. I mean, that seems silly. This is basically equal. Just in equal position. Equal. You know, fortunately his b6, that actually restricts his options a little bit. He doesn't have like queen out anywhere. I mean, I play the King's Indian too, so this is a very reasonable setup for black. I just have to develop my pieces. He's played this very conservatively, though. Very solid type of setup. Queen c7. Got myself in another position. I don't normally play this type of structure. Extremely safe position for black. I have to be careful not to be worse. He's got this knight coming to e4 on my queen on d2, which is like an absolute disaster if that happens. Plus he's very fast. No, I never played with John Bartholomew. He's the younger generation. I think I played adjacent to him in one tournament like 10 years ago. We had about the same rating, so we're playing on like nearby boards to each other. E6, bishop f4 is possible. I've been thinking about that for a while, but maybe it's better for me to just like trade pieces here. Trade pieces. This control of the e4 square was really freaking me out. But basically, Too Sharp plays like a pro. He doesn't create any weaknesses. I mean, b6 is the only weakening move. But I'm also playing very seriously in this game because I don't want to be worse here. d5. d5 is just bad positionally. If you face the bishop pair, it's very important, general rule, that you need to make sure that you trade one of them off. You have the ability to trade one of them off. That's my, saving grace here. This guy he doesn't have just a dominating bishop pair because he can't avoid the exchange of white squared bishops. I'm going to trade the white squared bishops on good terms when I'll be at least equal. But still, as I said earlier, it's not possible to get an advantage against the King's Indian without playing a setup based on e4. I think the g3 is tricky, and that's my game with Morales, and we had a game with Black against Ananas. It's tricky. There are a lot of variations that are different, but I still don't objectively think that that's such a critical test. If I play d5 here now, it would be more complicated. So maybe I should trade first and play d5. Now we try to focus on the white squares. But objectively, Black has a strong bishop and he's not worse here. Try to keep the position relatively closed. My knight isn't really working well yet. Hopefully there's still hope. Maybe we can mate him. e4, queen h6, knight g5. Okay, if he ever plays e5, the position changes, so he's got this kind of bad King's Indian bishop. Maybe in this position I can consider taking on e6 though. Well, I think it's not necessary to commit myself right away. That bishop, though, it's very strong. I can't try to do a4, a5 and open the a file. His bishop is mining the a1 square. Kind of a technical game. Before trading the bishop on f6, I thought d takes c5 was good for white. Yeah, I really was thinking about bishop f4, to be honest. Well, in any case, I mean, a4 is probably a useful move. He may be able to play b5 at some point, but even if he does, it's not the end of the world. I'm playing this game in a really, really low risk. Like I was playing a GM or something. I'm playing very, very conservatively with the maximum respect for my opponent. I wonder This is kind of weird to go queen d3 because he could change the structure at any moment. I need to play moves that are useful in all situations here. Though e4 may not be bad. Now you can just, well, yeah, it's not so simple. Queen e7 is a really deep move. Keeping the tension. He's doing an excellent job. I mean, he doesn't commit to any kind of anything. You know, he will not break the tension at all. Seems extremely strong. Maybe I should actually break the tension first here. But his time usage and his strength, it's like 1983 in Blitz. How is that even possible? He should easily be like 22 playing like this. Very carefully. Okay, I don't know about this ending. I mean, I've got to be a little bit better. Maybe not. All right. Yeah, maybe it's just equal. I don't know. He's got a bishop, and they're, you know, it's a fairly open position. I mean, it can open up at any moment with a file, with an open file. There's a lot of pawns on the board, but it doesn't have to be locked, basically. If I take, he takes with a rook, which is really, really solid. Keeping the tension like a pro with black. Maybe I can take now, but I'm not sure. This is based on rook takes e6, knight g5 ideas. King e7, e5. Maybe this just doesn't even work. He should have played bishop takes. I mean, after that, I'm lucky if I'm not losing. Now let's not get our knight trapped again. Knight takes h7, bishop h6, h4. It's not trapped this time. Alright. But he could have played bishop takes e5. Do I even want to take this, though? I mean, I may have to. Knight takes h7, e4. I can play king e2. Actually, e4 is bad because of knight g5. Okay, so what does he do? Or is it? I would probably first play king e2 and then plan on playing knight g5 next move. This was really bad. That he took with the pawn on e5. It's a very bad mistake. Yeah, but I have h4. My knight isn't trapped like in the game with Diva Karan. It's It's this move, though, I didn't see. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What's going on here? Am I losing? I'm actually losing. Knight f6 wins. I had a knight f6 win. Can I win this? Wow. What was going on in that king and pawn endgame, really? Man. I came very close to losing that. I thought I was lost. Maybe I'm lost. Am I lost? Looks like I'm lost, yeah. So he just has to go back to e5. Oh, man. I'm just lost. Another, you know, really tough game. The computer is really harsh on us for this king and pawn endgame. But I blundered terribly there. Knight f6 was just winning because I had this and this. I didn't see knight f6, knight g4 check. So I kind of panicked. I was only looking at the knight going over there somewhere. So this was a horrible blunder. Alright. Anyways. No, I wish it was well played, but I just totally miscalculated. I didn't plan on this, you know. I had plenty of time too. It was bad. But the opening was well played by, I mean, the initial part of the game was well played by both sides till he played d takes e5. I mean, I think the whole game was okay until then, you know, but e5 was even stupid by me, probably. This is a bad move. I mean, but I'm not winning, you know. The problem is the position is just like equal. And I wanted to do something, you know, and so I don't know. You know, I just have to accept that I can't really do anything here, you know, and play some boring move like h4 or g3 or something, and he does. You know, he just does bishop takes e5. I can't win this position. I mean, I guess the king and pawn endgame is a draw. You know, this is just a draw, probably, realistically. But anyway, really good opening by black. He played. Our center pawn is huge because of this ending, but really the first half of the game was played well by both sides. That's the other move I could have let's see, knight takes e4, e4, knight g5 right away. I was afraid of this variation where his king gets active, but I don't know, maybe it's nothing. Because I have knight g5 here, so the tricky knight with a lot of hops and stuff is on e6. Bishop f6, knight f3 check. I mean, his king looks really active, but I just go to e2 and that's it. You know, I'm up a pawn. Anyway, I don't know. Lucky to win at all there. So I'm going to play Galanid 7+3. I'll take the remaining challenges in order. We've got time for 3 more games, basically. Does you guys... I didn't see anyone make a suggestion about the viewer tournament tomorrow. How popular is the idea of doing chess 960 again with you guys? Galanid plays c3 Sicilian. The bishop trade was bad on f6. Well, it's not a standard, you know, exchange bishop for knight, but I just... I'll tell you right now that if I let his knight come to e4, I'll be worse, not equal, you know. If I do bishop takes f6, I can still maintain equality. But if you let him play knight f6, knight e4, white might just be worse. So it's kind of like damage control playing bishop takes f6. It's a matter of self-preservation. I don't think that my opening, you know, affords me any real advantage. The only other option I was thinking about was like putting my bishop on f4, but Diva Karan was saying maybe I could play d takes c5. This is a strange move by white here. Playing c4 a tempo down in 2 moves. That's very weird. But I don't know where I should put the queen objectively. Maybe just go back to d8. It seems lame though. What are my other options? I mean, queen e6 check, bishop e2. Blocks my bishop. Maybe queen d6. We can try to profit from the queen's development here, I guess. Although I have to watch for knight b5. I'm not objectively sure if knight b5 is a strong move for white. Do we need 196? No. I just mean the 100 games is kind of like 100 games played, period, you know, because I just want to know that you have an account that's not, you know, not just a made-up account for that day. It doesn't have to be in that. It doesn't have to be in that, you know. It doesn't matter. Just I want to know it's not a made-up account for that tournament or that day. Queen e4 check, bishop e2, bishop g4. Yeah, but he won't play h3 there. I'm curious. I mean, I just find c4... Never in my life I recall anyone playing c4. I mean, it must be a bad move. But there doesn't seem to be any outright refutation. It's like just losing a tempo. Queen e4 check, bishop e2. I'm going to lose a tempo. Queen e6 is a little less committal than queen e4. Now he's setting up a future bishop f4, among other things. But maybe bishop g4 is good now. This is similar to... kind of similar to g3 variation against the Sicilian, like e4, c5, g3, d5, which is a line I played against some guy Boris Men years ago. It's a well-known variation that goes back 50 years. But this looks really good now. I could even play, you might even be able to get away with something like queen d3, but my development is kind of slacking. Queen d3, bishop f1 isn't good. Queen d3, queen a4, and I'd have to castle queenside. But maybe that's good for me. It looks sort of dangerous though. I feel like I'd rather just develop my pieces sensibly here. Get out. I don't know. My sense of danger just says like queen d3 is unclear, and maybe it was a good move. He could always just do h3 there and then kick my bishop out. I don't know. Hey, say hello. Lost the tempo with king takes g4. You should have played king takes g5. But you had even stronger. When I play g3, you just go back to e5, wins by force. I didn't, I knew that my position was bad, but I didn't calculate exactly, how I lose there, but it's not surprising. I played very badly in the ending. Queen d7. Or queen d3. Not happening now. So c4 and now knight b5. A second move played with loss of time. He's not developing his pieces. He played c3, c4, and knight c3, knight b5. Threatening bishop f4 now. But it's nothing. I can just castle. White's problem is the line. That pawn ultimately is very weak. So I don't know. Maybe we'll do rapid chess tomorrow. We did chess 960 once, but it's pretty specific. The rapid chess is more popular in general. Remember what I did last week. Divakaran won the tournament. Maybe he remembers. Was it Blitz or Rapid? Rook fd8. All my pieces in the game. It's just a matter of time till this pawn becomes a problem. It's like a Benoni, like a bad Benoni. I mean, his bishop on g2 has a lot of potential. Now he's got to guard the pawn artificially with rook e3, which obviously looks pretty strange, but maybe it's not that bad. See how long I've been holding off on a6, because I just don't think this is not hurting me, so I don't need to drive it away. It's just sort of out there on its own. In principle, I don't like to attack such pieces unless I have a good reason to. Still, he's holding this knight b4, knight e5. I've got to constantly watch that. Oh man, not so easy. My queen on here, it's a little strangely placed. I guess I could go like bishop h5. It's sort of a cheapo, easily met. But I don't have a clear plan. This is maybe more naturally placed on b8, but I want to get it off the long diagonal. He can play h3 followed by bishop f5, but I'll have threats of bishop takes d3, so I don't know if he wants to do that. Maybe I could have played bishop f5 right away, but it's complicated. If I ever take on d3, white has like knight e5 type of stuff. Sometimes knight e1. But I guess this is a threat. There's time for 2 more games. 5 plus 2. That was 5 plus 2 last week. Then we should definitely do rapid. Queen b3 looks like a strange move in that it's exposed to attack quite a bit. Bishop f5 Yeah, this is weird. It's like, it looks visually awful for white. But this is also on my b7 pawn. Alright, I'll have knight d4 and sometimes forks on c2. I'm saying like a6, knight c3, bishop takes f3, bishop takes f3, knight to d4. I can win the exchange there. This weakens some squares, like the b6 square, though. Okay, I have knight d4 right away, which I missed. If he plays knight c3. I mean, it still doesn't win by force, by any stretch of the imagination, but it is pretty awkward for white. You may just have to play queen d1. I have very good control of the d4 square, but I must have missed something. Galinid just panicked, losing a piece. There's no need to do that. I mean, okay, every other move loses to the fork on c2, but you can play queen d1. You know, I think he just rejected this on grounds that it's like ugly, but I don't have a win, you know. Maybe I have knight f5 there. Okay, I'm probably winning a pawn. Even that's complicated, though. We can look at it after the game. Even that wouldn't be so easy for me. I'm obviously going to get this pawn and then his structure. I mean, I destroy his central pawns. So this is lost. But queen d1 I wasn't convinced by. Okay, this is hanging. So there's no queen takes b7. Wanted to play rook b8. Yeah, I guess I can just play bishop f4, bishop d6. But there's rook e3 there. This is actually kind of messed up. Can I play queen d7? Bishop takes, rook takes. But he's getting a lot of pieces. Oh, he just took it. I was a little bit worried about rook b1 for a moment. Oh, he has bishop c6. Oh no. Complicated. I got 3 pieces for a rook. I mean 2 rooks, excuse me. 2 rooks is better than 1. I'll let this get out of control. Not my day to day. I still like black. His king is very unsafe, you know. He has enough material for the 2 rooks, but in a practical sense, this is very dangerous. And not a safe king. And then there's knight g4. Knight g4 seems sort of silly though, because he has this back rank threat all the time. So he's hanging in there. Okay, rook check. What do I do? Bishop f6. I mean bishop f8 or king h7. Strangely, might have to play bishop f8. But I've discovered check and then knight f6. If queen takes f7, knight f2 check. Oh, I thought he was going to take the other way. Whoa. Strange that there's like no mate here. You could play king h1. He still has rook b2. Okay, whatever. Probably this was always winning. Guys, I have time for 2 last games for today. We had a really rough day today. You guys are tough. I guess I was winning, but it got a little bit too weird there. At least it was entertaining. So if you take on f7 here, I have knight f2 check, and then I was looking at knight e4 check, knight f6. It's actually a forced mate. Let's check this out. Knight f2 check, king g1, knight d3 check, king h1. Oh, it just wants me to take. So once I take his rook, he doesn't have any threats. Like, this check is just one check, and it doesn't do anything. All right. Haberbaum is a subscriber. Then we'll play one more. Haberbaum, you're waking up kind of late. Keys on keyboard got stuck. Haberbaum is well versed in the opening. I was talking about how the English opening is lame. I'm going to play it again. Rook takes b3 wins. Rook takes b3. When was rook takes b3? I don't recall that. Discord, you mean tournaments on lichess? Did we play this already, Haberbaum? Somebody played the Grunfeld against me the other day, and I did this queen a4 check variation. But not in this position. Wait a minute. Yeah, this position. Yeah, this is right. Was it against you? Because I don't remember. I don't really know the lines that well, but I did play one game against somebody. A signal generator. CAT scan. I'm thinking of something. Some old old radio I had. I'll see you later, Ananas. We'll see the next gold medal for Germany. Gold medals are coming in plenty for Germany. Instead of queen takes c6. Rook takes b3. I had that? Really? Haberbomb looks surprised. You think it was against you? Yeah? Okay, so knight d7 is like the main line. For some reason, Nakamura plays this like queen a3 or something. It looks really lame, though. I mean, he's done this like 4 times against Vacher, and like every time White gets no advantage. I just don't think that queen a3 seems like a great move. Well, usually I guess he does it the next move, like after castles queen a3. Last time I played bishop e2, I think I'll play this. But I may be getting my positions mixed up. No, this is theory. Knight c5, queen c2 isn't possible here. Now, if bishop e2, they play take, knight c5. But I can't sack an exchange, can I? Bishop e2, take, knight c5, take. Bishop takes a1, castles. How is... White doesn't have compensation there for an exchange. Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Well, can I move my rook somewhere? But I guess there's no really good place. Let's say like rook d1. I guess it's a move. But somehow this looks artificial and disorganized for White. Special sauce at McDonald's. It's best when you have a hangover. That's my secret. Rook d1. I find when I have a hangover, I'm more sensitive somehow to people's emotions and stuff. More tuned in. You're still a little bit drunk, but you don't have that out of control feeling, and I don't know. It's a very weird thing. Rook d1. Arsenal fan knows what I'm talking about. On fire last night in my over the board games. San Diego Cow. Yeah, over the board games last night. This weekend in the US was this like amateur team weekend for President's Day weekend. Actually, no, that's today. So if he was playing in that, he would, well, there's still chess today. There's like a 3-day weekend in the US, and they have this team championship for teams under 2200 every year. It's a lot of fun. It's not a formal thing. It's basically not like a serious team competition like in Europe. It's just for fun. So one more game after this. I'm down to 5 challengers. I'm gonna play Abita Boulay. Basically, vodka drunk is always the bubble. But his problem is that he's drinking too much and he's waking up late with a hangover. And then the challenges are coming too late. Okay, Hibberbom, I couldn't remember the move for white, so I just played rook d1. It seems like a logical move, but it should have some defects as well. Got a message. Secret message on lichess. Oh, you're talking about the Winter Olympics. Rook d1. Well, not a lot of choices here. Got to keep our pawns together. I guess I stopped knight c5 at least. The Hibberbom plays openings well. He must study. A lot of people here around Hibberbom's rating don't know opening theory. And I mean, it can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing, I guess. I mean, it's important not to be completely reliant on opening theory to the point where you lose like your creativity and play like a robot. But you know, it is also important that it saves us from, well, losing quick games in the opening because we know what we're doing. All right, knight f6 is the correct plan. I mean, he's got two ideas basically: knight takes e4 and bishop g4, which basically trades pieces. So it's a dual purpose move. How about queen a3? Anyway, he's getting a little low on time. We'll borrow a page from Hikaru's book. We just hope he can't sacrifice his queen or something. Yeah. All right. I think I bluffed him. I think he can really just take on e4. He just believed me. This looks really, really dangerous for white. Like knight takes e4, bishop takes e7, queen e8, bishop takes f8. I think you can just pull the trigger there with knight takes e4. You know, now it's too late after bishop e2. Nevertheless, black is probably okay here. He played, you know, safe, bishop g4. I was kind of banking on him getting lower on time and not wanting to play a risky move like knight takes e4. I think this is also okay for black. Should be equal. Okay, I'm not claiming that this variation is anything for white. I'm really just playing it for like the third time. Are they holding GM norms in Hungary in April? It's a strong open tournament, so, you know, GM norms are always possible in such an event with foreign players and enough title players. You just have to have a 2600 performance. I mean, it's easy. Just play like a 2600. You have to have a couple grandmasters, like 3 grandmasters and enough foreign players. You had the book by Caro on bullet chess. Yeah, the bishop takes e7 is I bet you that is good for black if he plays knight takes e4. Here he's fine too. I see one line that's definitely fine for black. Should be anyway, I think. Yeah. Black's got to be fine here. I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen to him, you know? He's played so solidly. Perfect principles. It would take like a long endgame for me to grind him down with my central majority or something. This is not easy. I did something wrong. But queen b6, huh? Interesting. Now he's getting aggressive. I guess I can play 90. I guess I can play e5, excuse me. Maybe I'm winning a pawn. But that would be kind of dangerous to take on e7 after knight to d5. I think I have to play e5. You know what though? I mean, his position looks pretty good. Having second thoughts, I could play h3. Actually, yeah, what's wrong with h3? There's not any piece sacrifice like knight takes e4 I wasn't counting on. You never know. We can get him on time. I got time for one last game, guys. Do I like Crazy House? I never really played much. Maybe if there was another. I played a little bit like years ago for fun. I would probably like it better than most variants if I had more time. You know. No, wait, it's slightly better. We have a comfortable kind of edge here. Two bishops, no counterplay. This looks legitimately kind of nasty for black. He's probably just losing material. But it was going really well. If you follow the opening theory here in this line for black. So I couldn't remember, you know, what was best here, but rook d1 apparently is. Although rook c1 is more common. You'd have to talk to an expert to differentiate which move, but apparently there's a bunch of recent games here. No one great. Alexander Fear. Fear just won the Brazilian Championship, I think. Okay, Queen c7 is played a lot. That's an interesting waiting move. C takes d4, C takes d4. So this looks like a really, really solid way for black to play. But apparently I can just go bishop d3. I didn't even consider it. I mean, for me it's a little strange. What's so great about bishop d3? Like, there's one game. Wow, Elizabeth Pate says 2474. Holy shit. Bishop d3. Bishop g4. Why is this so good for white? It doesn't look like anything to me. I don't know. Anyway, good opening by black. Alright, let's go with one more challenge. Abita Bude. Last game for today, guys. We're going to do rapid chess tomorrow. Good opening from Haberbaum. Played correctly. English opening, it's lame. Play it. I'm just lamenting my draw yesterday against the 2200. Flappity. Flappity bird. Okay, d6. That seems kind of passive, but it's playable. It's better against g3. That's a Nigel Short speciality. That was actually, he's played that a lot. My move is intended to be like more critical, you know. I'm playing here like 2 knights instead of g3, which puts more direct pressure on the center. It restricts black's options more. Here, okay, black has options, you know, old Indian style. You know, this move gives up the center, which I think is good for white. It's still playable for black. It's a type of King's Indian. But we are giving up the center pretty early. My old friend Igor Foigl, former Ukrainian junior trainer who lived in the US for a long time, he's brutal in these type of positions with white. He probably would have taken on c6. I saw him do that to Enrico Sevillano once. It was brutal. He took on c6 and then like got his queen on a5 somehow. I don't know how. I guess he played very quickly, like queen a4, queen a5, and wedged his queen on a5. And black was just like paralyzed. I was like, oh well, I'll do it next move. But Abita Buddha played bishop d7, just stopping the entire plan of knight takes c6. So probably I missed my window opportunity to play knight takes c6 there. Foigl would have done it right away, followed by queen a4. That's the plan. Sort of Petrosian-esque. Need to have a nap. My head still hurts. See, that's the problem with drinking too much. You wake up too late to get the challenge in on time. You can easily test for double account people with Discord. Just add them both to the audio channel. Ooh, I almost re-moved. That's not good after knight takes d4. I'm getting over my paranoia now. Let's not get me started again. Okay, bishop h3 is going to be the plan, obviously, but it is sort of time consuming. I have another idea. What if I took on c6 now? What do you think about that? It kind of makes queen c6 look silly. I mean, queen c8. Now if he takes with the bishop on c6, the whole plan looks sort of dumb. Okay, it's not very exciting, but do I take on c6 or not? It strengthens his center here. I don't have Foigelian queen a5 maneuvers. I think I'll just pass. While on the surface it looks like white has no advantage, I don't think that's the case. I think that white's advantage is just very minimalistic, but the structure is favorable. I have very good control of d5. In order to negate that, he has to play c6, and then he has a weak pawn on the d file. So it's a simple position, but white is just slightly better without a lot of counterplay for black. This is our last game for today, guys. Tushar Kamde, what do you think I need to work on? Well, I would say your opening knowledge is lagging behind your general strength. Most players, by the time they play as well as you, have much better theoretical knowledge of the openings. Which, and maybe endgame, I don't know. Openings and endgame. It seems like middle game is good. Tactically you're strong and fast, but openings and endgame probably. I wouldn't worry too much about tactics and stuff like that. Here we just have a very simple position. I played trading my white square bishop is a pity because it's so powerful on the long diagonal. But it's just an easy position for white to play without any risk here. Rook d1, double the rooks. Maybe put my queen over here. Speak of the devil. Which rook? I don't know, what is he trying to do? Like some crazy knight h5? It's a little late for a direct attack on my king here. h5. I mean, my king actually has more, it has more shelter than black's king because I have 4 pawns to protect my king. No, objectively black is probably still okay here, but it's unpleasant because he's very passive, has a static weakness. But I would imagine a really strong player could hold this for black. It's not like he's lost. Like in general, I'm not normally telling people they should go around like spending most of their effort on openings, but you know, I think that for the average, it seems like your opening knowledge is less than most people of your level. Although a lot of strong players will tell you that the opening is not that important. They have a basis for that. But I think that's up to a point, you know. Did I miss something here? Alright. Knight g4 is just a really weird move. We just trade into a very strong endgame for white, where he's just paralyzed. With the knight on h5. Unless he wants to sack a piece here with f5 or something. I don't even have to take it. You could play f5, it's kind of crazy. It's probably unsound. I can't trap his queen. I might be able to win this pawn by force. Knight e4 and bishop a3. It's forced pawn win. Forced. I hope I didn't miss something, but okay guys, tomorrow night we're going to be playing 7+2 rapid tournament. Here on lichess, 7 p.m. My simul's on Sunday are at 6:30. I get confused myself. My knight is a little short of squares, but I can always play c5 if I have to. It's on a strong outpost, actually. No, I can play knight takes b7 and knight a5. I think he actually has to worry about that. So there's no counterplay, really. f4 is not dangerous. Just lost for black. But I'm curious about the opening. Should I really play knight takes c6 right away and queen a4? Fuego Sevillano. That may not be in the opening Explorer because it was like a regional tournament where all the games aren't saved or submitted. This is just g4. Oh, he's got f3 check. Well, if f3 check is a problem, then maybe I should consider my alternatives. Although f3 check, pawn takes pawn, knight f4 check, king h2. I'm threatening lots of stuff. He's got some play. I said this was a lost position, but it's a little bit weird because of f3 check. Maybe it's better for me not to play that, but he's also threatening rook e8. Strange, but true. Alright. Well, I'll get 2 pawns up here temporarily. He didn't do it. Gotta play f3 check and knight f4. I mean, It's the only chance. You've got some activity, even though you're 2 pawns down. It's better to be like 2 pawns down with activity than 1 pawn down with no activity any day. Even if you're lost objectively, you have some practical chances. Now the pawn structure is just it's just irreparable. Alright, anyway guys, thank you for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll be back tomorrow night. Martin, what's up? I'll be seeing you at any tournaments in the foreseeable future. I'm playing in Budapest in spring. Budapest, April will be the next one, and I'm thinking about a tournament in June, but I'm not sure if I'll play in June or not, but April is for sure. Here in Hungary, I highly recommend it. It's a very strong open tournament if anyone's interested in playing. The Budapest Spring Festival. It's a cultural festival, but it's extended to chess as well. Very famous culture and music festival here in Hungary every spring, which encompasses all sorts of things. But the chess, the concept of the Budapest Spring Festival in chess as well has existed for a long time, just that it kind of fell from grace for a time without enough sponsorship. This is a very cagey move by Abitabula here, playing King G5. He's bothering me a little bit, but I think we're okay. I can play like E3 and threaten to consolidate. Luckily, Rook D6 keeps me fairly active. I don't really know what to recommend here. Maybe, I don't know. He's lost objectively, but at least King G5 was a good fighting try. Well, he actually has made it on King takes H3. Okay, bad ending. The author John Watson. Yeah. All right, I'm just saying what's going on in the chat room there. So I will see you guys tomorrow night. Thanks for playing. Thanks for watching and subscribing. Also check out my uploads of these streams and hopefully other things on video chess training on YouTube. You guys please subscribe over there. If you can support the stream, we're saving money to buy a new chair for the office, so that's our next goal. If you want to support the stream with PayPal, please do so. You can do that here on Twitch or also on YouTube. Anyway guys, thanks to Soltigo, who's usually here, but he's got the morning off as our moderator. Anyway, really tough games today. I struggled quite a bit, so you guys are definitely not an easy bunch to play against. I will see you tomorrow night. Again, 7 p.m. viewer tournament. Everyone's welcome to play 7+2 Rapid Chess Casual here on lichess and Twitch tomorrow night. Bye-bye.